Hi, I'm Katherine Siochi, Principal Harp of the Sarasota Orchestra. Welcome to Masterworks 5, Midori Honors Bernstein. This intensely romantic concert celebrates the legacy of the great Leonard Bernstein with renowned violinist Midori and guest conductor Michael Balka. Join me on a musical journey through the 5th concert of the Sarasota Orchestra's Masterworks series. It is hard to understand today why the premiere of The Barber of Seville in 1816 was such an unmitigated disaster. True, the overture we know today was originally not part of the opera, but the simple mischievousness of Rossini's opera buffa did not deserve the hostility it encountered. Following the disastrous premiere, Rossini made a number of modifications. Although the overture sounds appropriate for the spirit of the libretto, its melodies do not recall a single theme from the opera proper. And no wonder, this was its 3rd reincarnation. Rossini, like his overworked predecessors, including Bach and Handel, made good use of musical recycling. Many Rossini overtures have been perennial favorites of audiences and musicians, even after the operas themselves have been cast into oblivion. For over 100 years, the only one of his operas in the standard repertoire has been The Barber of Seville. However, Rossini's snappy rhythms, catchy tunes, and the famous Rossini rocket, which revs up tension by gradually adding instruments to the ensemble, have turned many of the overtures into household tunes, and even cartoon soundtracks for Bugs Bunny and Woody Woodpecker. In 1986, 14-year-old Midori Goto performed Bernstein's Serenade after Plato's Symposium with Leonard Bernstein himself and the Boston Symphony Orchestra. During the 5th movement, she broke the E string on her violin, and she was quickly past the concertmaster's Stradivarius violin. But then, she again broke the E string and rapidly took the violin of the associate concertmaster without missing a beat. 32 years later, Midori will honor Bernstein's 100th birthday with the same piece, only now with guest conductor Michael Balka and the Sarasota Orchestra. For the Serenade, Bernstein drew inspiration from Plato's Symposium, a dialogue of related statements in praise of love, each statement made by a distinguished speaker. Phaedrus opens the symposium with a lyrical oration in praise of Eros, the god of love. Pausanias continues by describing the duality of the lover as compared with the beloved. This is expressed in a classical sonata allegro based on the material of the opening fugato. Aristophanes does not play the role of clown in this dialogue, but instead that of the bedtime storyteller, invoking the fairy tale mythology of love. The atmosphere is one of quiet charm. Eryximachus, the physician, speaks of bodily harmony as a scientific model for the workings of love patterns. This is an extremely short fugato scherzo, born of a blend of mystery and humor. Perhaps the most moving and famous speech of the dialogue, Agathon's panegyric embraces all aspects of love's powers, charms, and functions. This movement is simply a 3-part song. Socrates describes his visit to the seer Diotima, quoting her speech on the demonology of love. Love as a demon is Socrates' image for the profundity of love, and his seniority adds to the feeling of didactic soberness in an otherwise pleasant and convivial after-dinner discussion. This is a slow introduction of greater weight than any of the preceding movements, and serves as a highly developed reprise of the middle section of the Agathon movement, thus suggesting a hidden sonata form. The famous interruption by Alcibiades and his band of drunken revelers ushers in the Allegro, which is an extended rondo ranging in spirit from agitation through jig-like dance music to joyful celebration. While many of Beethoven's symphonies broke new ground, the 6th is both innovative, as it prefigures the Romantic tone poems, and traditional. Beethoven and his audience were readily able to attach literary, emotional, or extra-musical concepts to music. Beethoven provided descriptive titles to each of the 5 movements, while at the same time commenting that the music was self-explanatory and needed no titles. The first movement, Cheerful Feelings Awakened on Arriving in the Country, builds up none of the intense tension so common in Beethoven's first movements, being instead an unhurried study in tranquility. The murmuring accompaniment in the second movement, Seen by the Brook, captures the sound of a flowing brook interspersed with the bird calls and chirping insects, all within a tradition in tone painting common since the Renaissance. In a break with the classical symphonic structure, the last three movements run together as a continuous quasi-narrative entity. The third movement, Merry Gathering of Country Folk, suggests a village band with the lower strings imitating the drone of a bagpipe. The dance is interrupted by the thunderstorm, a superb impressionistic evocation of lightning, thunder, and howling winds. As the storm approaches, the thunderclaps come faster and faster, and then slow down as the storm passes. After the final rumbles, a solo clarinet followed by a solo horn lead into the shepherd's song, Happy and Thankful Feelings After the Storm. Instead of a traditional rousing finale, the bucolic scene ends with the shepherd's pipe figure fading away into the distance. The gentle atmosphere of the Sixth Symphony is in sharp contrast to the high-voltage intensity of the Fifth, completed only a few weeks earlier. Although Beethoven fought, quarreled, and argued with everyone, friend, foe, or patron, with nature he was at peace. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. I hope you join us in person for Masterworks 5, Midori Honors Bernstein.